Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a match that had literally the entire footballing world holding its breath. We're talking about that highly anticipated World Cup semifinal, right? The one where Spain's methodical, suffocating control completely dismantled France's terrifying attack. I mean, this wasn't just a win. This was an absolute tactical masterclass, and we're going to explore the exact blueprint behind how Spain pulled it off.
To really set the stage, let's kick things off with this incredibly blunt post-match admission from France's superstar, Kylian Mbappé. He flat out admitted, on the record, that their pressing had absolutely no effect. When a player of Mbappé's caliber comes out and says they were tactically outnumbered and just overrun in midfield, you know something special happened out there. It's the perfect hook to understand exactly how Spain put together this 2-0 masterclass.
Okay, let's look at the agenda for our chalkboard breakdown today. We'll be looking at the ultimate tactical clash, the midfield masterclass, silencing Kylian Mbappé, targeting the left back, and finally, the executed blueprint. All right, starting off with Section 1, the ultimate tactical clash. So, to really grasp the stakes of this battle, we have to look at the massive contrast between these two teams heading into Dallas. Neither of these heavyweights had trailed in a match all tournament, which is wild. You had Spain, right, wanting to slow the game way down, keep the ball, and expand the pitch as much as humanly possible with this wide 4-3-3 shape. And then, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you had France. They relied on sheer athletic dominance and a super high-tempo 4-2-3-1 setup. They basically wanted to stay coiled up in a compact mid-block, just waiting to launch these ruthless vertical sprints the absolute second they won the ball back. It was, quite literally, the ultimate clash of control versus chaos. Now, to survive France's relentless press, and keep in mind even Mbappé was putting in the work here, Spain executed this highly specific four-step sequence. Step 1, dictate long spells of possession. Step 2, let that possession naturally slow the entire game down, which deeply frustrated the high-tempo French side. Step 3, by keeping the ball, they systematically starved France's lethal attackers of touches. And finally, Step 4, Spain used this deep U-shaped passing geometry to shrink the pitch in the middle. As soon as a frustrated France committed bodies to the center to try and win it back, boom, Spain perfectly set their trap to strike out wide.
Moving right along to Section 2, the midfield masterclass.
You know, to actually execute a plan like that against a team like France, you need players who can think faster than the opposition can run. And just look at these staggering numbers from Rodri and Fabian Ruiz as they went about disengaging France's counterpress. Rodri won 7 out of 12 ground duels and was a flawless 4 for 4 in the air. Ruiz chipped in with 7 massive ball recoveries of his own. It was incredible. Whenever France tried to hit them on the break with pure speed, this Spanish duo just matched them with pure football IQ. They're playing these rapid, intricate little passes to break the press, resetting the play backwards when they needed to, and just establishing total tactical control. The real secret sauce here is that Spain didn't just defend by flying in with last-ditch tackles. They used this genius concept of rest defense. Basically, by keeping overwhelming possession and completely dictating the rhythm, they made sure France simply never got the chance to mount a sustained attack. They essentially neutralized the chaos before it could even get started. That brings us to Section 3, silencing Kylian Mbappé. Let's see how all that overwhelming midfield control translates into neutralizing the most lethal weapon on the pitch. Heading into this match, Mbappé had 8 goals. 8! That put him just one single goal away from tying Lionel Messi as the joint leading goal scorer in all of World Cup history. Because of that hunger for history, his sheer presence on the pitch was just terrifying. He was lingering dangerously high, projecting this massive tactical gravity and literally pinning defenders back out of pure fear of his pace. But check this out. Spain's blueprint was so effective that Mbappé's expected goals for the entire match absolutely plummeted to a mere 0.08, stemming from just 3 attempts. By completely starving him of those vertical transition opportunities he usually just feasts on, Spain managed to turn the tournament's most feared attacker into what was essentially a frustrated spectator. And to put the cherry on top, he registered exactly 0 shots on target. 0. No way, right? But it's true. He was forced into just chasing long balls or drifting offside all game. By completely cutting off his supply line, Spain basically erased his historic impact on the biggest stage imaginable.
Now for Section 4, targeting the left back.
Okay, so with France's lethal attack thoroughly neutralized, Spain needed to strike, and they targeted one very specific Achilles heel on the pitch. Enter young Lamine Yamal, who happened to be celebrating his 19th birthday as Spain's fearless catalyst. His manager's tactical instruction to him was honestly pretty simple: just do you. And doing him meant bringing extreme offensive gravity to the right touchline. He literally hugged the touchline all game, stretching the French defense to its absolute breaking point.
By creating these one-on-one isolations out wide against left-back Lucas Digne, Spain forced France's center backs into this completely impossible tactical dilemma. Do they step out of the middle to help Digne against Yamal's explosive multi-directional movement, or do they just stay home in the center and pray Digne somehow survives the one-on-one?
So, when Yamal demanded the ball and inevitably forced those double teams, it completely fractured France's shape. This layered, coordinated movement is exactly what opened up the central passing lanes Spain's midfielders were hunting for. Ultimately, it was Yamal's aggressive, fearless run that forced a rash challenge from Lucas Digne, winning the penalty for Mikel Oyarzabal to step up and score Spain's opening goal.
Which leads us to our final part, Section 5, the executed blueprint.
Let's bring all these tactical elements together to see how Spain hammered the final nail in the coffin during the second half. Down 1-0 at halftime, French manager Didier Deschamps understandably panicked. He switched his team from a 4-4-2 zonal scheme to a much more aggressive 1v1 man-to-man pressing structure, desperately hoping to force some turnovers. But actually, this adjustment played right into Spain's hands.
Because France was now locking on man-for-man, defenders were easily dragged completely out of position. With Digne pulled super wide by Yamal, a brilliantly smart flick from Dani Olmo found Pedro Porro. Porro recognized this newly opened gate between the fullback and the center-back, attacked that space perfectly, and smashed it into the net to make it 2-0. I mean, it was the absolute textbook exploitation of a fractured system.
Returning to Mbappe for a second, his self-blame after the match really highlights the psychological toll of Spain's masterclass. France had 152 touches in the attacking third, but they simply could not establish any sustained dangerous possession. It was like hitting a brick wall. The Spanish structure just swallowed up the space instantly.
Ultimately, what this explainer shows us is that Spain didn't just defeat France on the scoreboard. They dragged them down to an entirely different level by executing this absolutely flawless playbook. We're talking total neutralization of the counterattack, unmatched midfield retention from Rodri and Ruiz, constantly isolating Yamal against Digne, and ultimately forcing Deschamps to completely abandon his core defensive identity.
So, as Spain heads into the World Cup final, it leaves us with this incredibly fascinating question about the very nature of modern football. Does ultimate tactical control in a methodical structure always beat raw, terrifying speed? Well, it certainly did today.